not Facebook fam, YouTube fam. Oh man, just jumping back and forth on these social network platforms. I hope all is well with you guys. Let me go ahead and get this thing situated. This is your host, you know, your boy Tyreek. And hang on, let me see. That's probably a little bit better right there. Hopefully, you guys can see me well. So, Kingdom Diplomat podcast, episode 3. Hopefully, you guys been following me through Facebook until I got this YouTube live up and running. I'm excited. I'm pumped up. Let's go. Before I get into this, I got to get a few preliminary things done, and we'll get started at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. And yes, 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 it is too. It goes by way too fast. But I'm excited about having 6 Saturdays and a Sunday. And yeah, my wife and I have multiple businesses and everything like that. But we're looking forward to getting to a point to where we can just do what we want to do when we want to do it. Here very shortly. Totally excited about being debt free. Praise God. Excited about helping out people. See, I can teach. That's one of my gifts, and that gets me jacked up. I could do it for free. Actually, I'm doing it for free, at least for now, right? Dropping all these gems because somebody took the time out and went through to pay a major price to share this information with me also too, through the years, and that's over a span of about 25 years. um, and just looking back on my life. um, there's a lot of examples that actually I can actually use and kind of pull off or pull out of that some lessons, some lessons in regards to different laws. And I'm excited about sharing that with you guys. So we're going to be getting started here in about 8 or 9 minutes. 8 or 9 minutes. So again, welcome to Kingdom Diplomat podcast, third episode. The 5 most important, or should I say, vitally important questions that every human being needs to know. I'll be right back with you guys. Grab a notepad and pen. Please grab a notepad and pen because you want to take notes. You're not going to be able to remember everything that I'm going to go through, but it's going to be well worth your time. I can promise you, whatever movie that you may like or show that comes on every single week, I can promise you this is going to be not entertaining, although I'm not saying I'm not entertaining, but these life lessons that I've learned, law-based lessons, will definitely bear some fruit on your tree. We got 6 minutes before we kick off. Where are you from? Where are you from? The 5 most vital questions that every human being must know. Text your neighbor, text your friend, text your boy, text your girl, friends, family members, shoot out smoke signals. Those of you who watch it live, bless your heart. Those of you who are going to watch it later on, tomorrow, next week, next year, going to be blessed for this. Four more minutes. 4 more minutes. We're going to get started. Send your pigeon out. Put a note in Rover's collar. Send it over to your neighbors. Tell them to go to your neighbors. Tell them to hop on Kingdom Diplomat Podcast. The 5 most important, or the 5 most vital questions to every human being. All right, got about 30 seconds, guys. You can go use the bathroom, grab a quick snack. Actually, don't eat anything. I wouldn't eat anything, so you can pay attention. 30 more seconds. Less than 30 seconds. Text a friend, family member. All right, guys, look like it's 7 o'clock. We're about to get started here. All right. Kingdom Diplomat Podcast, Episode 3. Where are you from? Where are you from? What does that tie into? The 5 most vitally important questions that every human being must know. All right. Hopefully you guys been following me through Facebook. Thank you again to my foundational subscribers, 56 right now, but my first 50 or 56. I really appreciate that. Do me a favor, like and subscribe, because not only this series right here, but I'm going to get into a lot of things, like I said before in previous talks, that you will not hear in your institutions, whether your government institutions, educational institutions, or your family institutions. I'm going to share a lot of things with you that you've probably never heard before in your life. And some of you might have heard some of it before, but it needs to be reiterated, right? We're all human beings. We all need to be, it's kind of like a hammer hitting a nail, right? We need to hit that hammer over, or hit that nail over and over again with that nail, because that's just how we are. Sometimes we're hard-headed, sometimes we're just full of pride, sometimes we're just stubborn, sometimes nobody can tell us what to do. Right? Nobody's been there before, right? Yeah, of course not. All right, so welcome. Whether you are in, do me a favor, whatever city that you're in, please type that in the chat box. You can do the state also too, country, continent, whether you're on Mars, Neptune, Venus, Uranus, Pluto, wherever you're at. Maybe you're just out there in space, just kind of waiting to come back home, and you're listening to Kingdom Diplomat Podcast. Please go ahead and subscribe and like. I really appreciate that. All right, so here's my recommendation to get prepared. As I said before, I recommend you have a notepad and pen. Why? Because you're not going to remember every detail. What I want you to do is just get the concepts, right? Get the concepts, get the ideas, right? Because everything is all about ideas. Most of the Western world is ruled by dead men's ideas. As you remember me talking about last week, if you tuned in last week to that Facebook live I did. But from here on out, I'm actually going to be on YouTube live in the foreseen future. So we'll see about that. So yes, so the Western world and most of the world is ruled by dead men's ideas. Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, the Greek mentality, right? The democratic mentality. As a matter of fact, they invented democracy. They called it democrata. So as I said before last week, I recommend you listen to it at least 3 times. Researchers say 7 times, right, to get something, to retain it while you're taking notes. Why? Because you're retaining about 98% of it. Okay, listen to it 7 times, take notes, and you retain 98% of it. So a lot of these laws that I'm going to share with you, remember what I said also too, I'm not going to be sharing with my opinion. If I do share my opinion, I'm going to let you know it's my opinion. So I'm all about law-based stuff. So there's laws of love, there's laws of life, there's laws how to take care of this body, there's laws how to take care of this brain, right? This brain. We talk a lot about mental, a lot of people having mental health issues and stuff like that. So they're violating knowingly and unknowingly things dealing with the brain, right? There's laws dealing with our spirit, right? A lot of people don't even know that the foundation of them is a spirit, you know. So I may or may not get into that. I did get into that last week on a Facebook Live, but let's go ahead and get into this. So again, please subscribe, please like. So I know everybody has a story, and I don't know if you ever heard this before, but I believe I coined this phrase is that everybody is a best-selling book on two legs, right? Just like an ambassador is a person that represents a country on two legs. If you slap a citizen of a country, that's an assault. But if you slap an ambassador, you're going to wake up the government that they represent, right? You're going to wake up the military, you're going to bear the grunt, right? That's a whole different topic right there in that area. So some of y'all may get that a little bit later on. So let's do a quick recap from the first time. The first question was, who am I? Right? That's a very difficult question. Who am I? These 5 questions, starting with that first question, who am I? It's very difficult if you think about it, right? A lot of times people don't even want to be by themselves. They always want to have noise going on, distractions and everything, because they're very scared of their thinking. They're scared of themselves. And see, as I said before, we've been trained that way, right? We've been trained to think a certain way, right? To put that cap, to keep hitting that cap in our mind, right? Or to put that cap over that drink, right? The fluid in that drink can't get but so high, right? So we've been trained that way. We weren't born that way, but we were trained that way, which I'm about to get into this. So those are very difficult questions, you know. Who am I? Success and failure are very predictable. Why? Because they're law-based. If you know laws of success, then you'll succeed, right? If you read, if you research, you've been mentored, all the things. If you went to leadership seminars, if you did things to grow and add value to yourself, because you got to remember you're a product. Remember I gave you a definition of the product. I'm not going to go through the whole definition, but it did say that a person is a product. It said a person or a thing is a product. So you're a product. So every product has a manufacturer, and every product, if you think about this product of this phone, your vehicle, your laptop, whatever product that you've ever purchased in your life, actually has affected millions of people, thousands of millions of people, shall I say. So success and failure is predictable, right? When you know the laws, you can guarantee your outcome and you can control the circumstances, right? Because that's what everybody's looking to control is circumstances, right? And in order to control circumstances, you got to have power. And that's what everybody's desiring and what everybody's looking for is power. I wasn't intending on getting into this, but it is true, and maybe I'll delve into it. You know what? I'll go ahead and touch it just a little bit. Everybody's like, power basically means the ability to control circumstances. If you're sick, you want the control to make yourself well, and even before that, you want to prevent being sick, right? If you have lack of money, you want money, right? No, you don't want money. You want the money to get you up, power, so you can have control over your circumstances. See? It's kind of like you don't want look at it like this. You don't want the electricity, or you don't want the, well, yeah, you can say that. You don't want the power line. You just want the electricity to pump from the headquarters, the power company, to flow through the line so you can get power. Isn't that something? No pun intended. But anyway, so you can get power, right? So you can do what you need to do in your house, right? So you can cook, you can do clean, you can do all kind of things, watch TV, movies, or whatever you need to do in your house to get things done to be productive. Now, so yeah, I talked about the product before, and every product has a manufacturer, which means the maker's mind. The manufacturer designed the product to succeed at the highest level. Are you listening to me? So that's what it's supposed to do for any product. So we're a product and we have products, right? So think about yourself, which is the product, an amazing product, right? There's 8+ billion of us around the world. Babies are being born right now as I'm speaking to you. right? So they are designed to succeed. They have an assignment, they have a vision, and they have a purpose. Now, you must know and you must understand that if we don't know who we are, then industries take advantage of us. The fashion industry, right? If we don't have, you got the people who, if you're not carrying the right pocketbook, you have women that look women up and down and make fun of them and talk about them because they're not carrying Donna Karen, or this, what is it, what, I don't remember all the DKNY, and you have some other ones that are way up there, $500, $10,000 and everything like that. If you don't carry that pocketbook, a woman carries that pocketbook, then they talk about her, or she's not in their arena, so to speak. And the person who doesn't have the funds at that moment, or just doesn't choose to carry that pocketbook, they may feel sad, or feel down, or their self-image may take a hit. And then the person that's making fun of them, when you look at it from both sides, both people are sick. Why? Because they don't know who they are. So the fashion industry predicates its marketing strategies on people's lack of knowing who they truly are, right? So you got the law of self-image. The law of self-image, you should write that down. The law of self-image, right? There's laws into that. You got the law of input and output. That determines who you are, right? That's identity. Then we talk about, a lot of times you see on TV and all over the place, somebody stole my identity. Somebody hacked into my Facebook account. Somebody hacked into this account. Somebody stole this and everything. People who do that, obviously are deceiving, and they're just trying to destroy people's lives. For whatever reason, obviously it's wrong. It doesn't matter. You can fill in the blank. It's all wrong. It's all unrighteous. And so, they have a low self-image, right? It doesn't matter for whatever reason. You got, the law of input, the things that we listen to, the people that we hang around, our environment, everything that develops the self-image and who we are. So getting back to my second lesson, this is just a quick recap. Why am I here? I talked about that last week. Why am I here? So origin of existence. Origin of existence. A lot of people, it's a difficult question. People are confused on where they come from. Some people think they come from an amoeba. Some think they come from a monkey who transformed into this and that, and some people think they come from a tadpole. Some people think they just fell out the sky. You say, man, you're just making that up. No, I actually know of a person that passed years ago. He was an ambassador of one of the islands, and he said they were taught by one of their kingdoms that when they were little, right? That's why people who have different ideologies to try to destroy a person's self-image or people's self-image, or to control people, because that's the name of the game, is to start when they're young, right? Because the first 7 years are extremely impressionable. You can look that up in psychology. So there's laws of psychology, right? But anyway, he said that he remembered distinctively that he was taught that they told him that he came from monkeys, that he fell out of the sky and he was mentally retarded, and there was a whole bunch of other things that he mentioned and everything. So you'd be surprised what people are taught all around the world and everything, let alone in this, in the North American continent. So anyway, so the law of input and output. What we put into our mind sets our foundation, the stronghold of our foundation, and that is the pathway, or that propels us into the future. Okay, so why am I here? So here is, I talked about last week, a seed. A seed is a converting mechanism. I just had my lawn care guy just aerate, plug and seed, and put hay down. I think he might have put some fertilizer down and everything like that, but take care of our lawn, right? So a seed is a converting mechanism. I used the example last week from the physical side that every human being, or let me back up. So our Father released 500 million sperms, obviously, and there was a race to the egg. And normally, there's one person that makes it, right? Or um, one part of one person makes it, right? And so that seed, us, guess what? We won. We won the race. So we already won. Think about what I just said. We already won the race. So whether you're 75 years young, 50 years young, 25 years young, doesn't matter what happened in the past. Doesn't matter what's going on. Just repent. Repent means to change your thinking. Repent's not a religious word. It's a law-based word. It's actually a government word. So change your thinking. Make a decision, change your thinking, and say, you know what? I don't like where I'm at. I don't like where my family is. I don't like where my marriage is. I don't like, I need to make a decision now. Why? Because the things that you do affect your kids, grandkids, and great grandkids. Another thing I pointed out last week also too is that our chromosomes record everything, right? It records the trauma. It records the fear, the anxiety, all the things that we put through the law of input and output. It gets recorded in our chromosomes. A lot of times, I would say probably most people never knew that, but it actually gets passed down to your kids, right? So I talked about the seed. So let me get into something a little bit more in depth in this because it's a beautiful evening, and I know a lot of you guys that are not on Facebook Live, but you're probably out there. But when you tune into this, you might have missed my talk last week. So if you ever looked up the word, do you understand what the word human actually means? So if you break that word down, Hu means humus. That means a dirt body. So our body's made up of minerals and other substances, right? You break it down, it has cells and everything like that, atoms, all that whole thing, right? You have a subatomic level and, energy and all that stuff like that. But Hu means humus. Now, man, I don't know if you know about this, but man in the Hebrew means spirit. See, I told you last week that you're a spirit. You have a soul when you live in a body. You're a triune being. So I'll get into that a little bit later on in another talk and stuff like that. Getting back to identity, right? So when you combine, when you look at your identity, who you are, why am I here, where am I going, all these 5 questions actually are intertwined into each other. They always intertwine. And see, if you don't know, there's wealthy people, right? They learn some laws and how to be wealthy, laws of success, and how to make money, right? They understood that money is actually doesn't even exist. What do you mean it doesn't exist? Man, what are you smoking? What are you doing? No, money does not exist. It's an idea. Remember I said at the beginning, everything is an idea, right? This pen right here is an idea. This phone is an idea. This podcast is an idea, right? The microchips in this phone is an idea. Energy is an idea. Laptops are an idea. You are an idea. Are you listening to me? So we're ideas, right? So anyway, so again, you're a product, and you see. Let me go back to this quick example. So a manufacturer, before a manufacturer releases a product, obviously there's an image that's on it, right? And so when you back up the whole assembly line, there's people that have to test the product. They have to test it to make sure, and you can fill in the blank, use whatever product you want to fill in the blank with, but you have to have tested that product in a myriad of ways. You have to get people to do it. You have to pay people to do it. Why? Because that manufacturer's attached to that reputation of that product, and there's a level of a standard that manufacturer wants that product to act out, right, in the marketplace. So there's a lot of work that goes into that product. Hopefully you get that concept. So if you're the product, there's a manufacturer, right? You won the race. Remember I said the 500 million sperms, you were picked to win that race. Are you getting what I'm saying? So you've already won. Now you got to figure out what's your vision. I said last week, if you go back in your childhood years, your vision was already given to you, right? That's part of your purpose. Your purpose is why are you here? Anyway, so where am I from? Where am I from? So let's talk about that. Where am I from? So if somebody were to ask you, where are you from? What do most people normally say? They say, well, I'm from Kentucky. Well, I'm from Utah. Well, I'm from Nigeria. I got some family from there. Yeah, my cousins. Well, I'm from Switzerland. I'm from Russia. I'm from China. I'm from the U.S. Or some people talk about the city that they're from. Right? That's how we've been trained. Can I present to you, based on what I told you before, that you are a spirit? That word spirit actually also means wind. We are affected by wind every day. You remember those storms that we've had over the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, those hurricanes, all that stuff, wind, right? We can't see wind with our naked eye, but we can see the effects and we can feel the effects of wind, right? Wind actually means spirit. Can I present to you that you are a created being from the manufacturer, right? I call him Christ, Jesus Christ. Well, Christ actually means anointed king. A king has a dominion over a territory, right? A president, a prime minister doesn't have authority over the citizens of that country. I'm talking about natural now, right? Wasn't planning on getting into this, but I think there's some people that need to actually hear this and everything. So I present to you again that you're from God, right? And that he sent you here because that's what kings do, don't they? Kings, from a natural standpoint, they expand, right? Why do they expand? Because they want to increase their territory. They want to increase their domain. Kings want to have offspring. What did I say last week before? Mankind is a species. Male plus female is equals mankind, right? There's a lot of people out here that don't want me to teach this. Why? Because again, if you don't know who you are, you don't know where you're from, and you don't know why you're here. If you don't know then those three right there, then you can't understand what you can do, and you don't know where you're going, right? See how invaluable this information is right here. So anyway, don't forget there's a manual to the manufacturer, right? Or should I say there's a manual for the product and how to work the product. Remember I said earlier that you're a product. Think about it, right? How many people out there actually go through their manual for their products? I'm guilty of it. A lot of products I buy, majority of the time, I don't read through from A to Z all the manual, right? That means the maker's mind, the most important 6 inches between our ears. That's the maker's mind. Man, I'm dropping a lot of nuggets, man. Golly, I hope you're paying attention to this. So our culture determines where we think we're from physically, determines mentally, and through that determination, it's going to limit us, right? So where you're from limits you. Well, I'm black. Well, I'm white. Well, I'm this. Well, I'm that, right? You're limited by that location. So I would submit to you that you're more than where you're from. Just think about that. You're more than where you are from. It's a difficult question. These are very difficult questions. That's why I encourage you to set some time aside. Please set some time aside. Not for me, for you. I'm already doing that for myself, right? I'm learning more and more things about me, more and more things about my wife, kids, family, friends, neighbors, community, all that stuff like that. I'm learning more and more about how people work and how people think, the human psychology of it. So I'm adding value to myself as much as possible, learning the laws of psychology and things like that. So again, um, here's another thing you may have not known: 86,400 seconds in a 24-hour period. So we are controlled by our environment, right? The law of input and output, all the information that we get constantly at, especially if we're all over social media. I mean, constantly we're bombarded. The word for that is distractions. There's a lot of distractions. Distractions are kind of like leeches. If you're old enough, if you remember, and this still is a classic movie, it's called Lean on Me. I remember the time these little boys were, I don't remember the whole story, but I remember they were walking through a river. When you're a little kid, especially if you grew up in the country and you're trying to, you just want to do a lot of exploring, right? Everybody likes to explore. That's why, we're looking for some things, right? That's why I talked about these 5 questions, because I believe that every human being, deep in the recesses of their mind and in their spirit, they know that something's missing. They just can't pinpoint what it is. And to me, that's the most torturous life of all, is not to know these 5 questions and know that there's something missing, but not even know what it is. Because if you were able to identify it, you still wouldn't know what it is, right? Let me rephrase that. If it was in front of you, you're not going to know what it is, right? So, but anyway, those kids were walking through like a little, I'd say the creek was probably maybe about 3 feet, maybe 2 feet. Well, anyway, it was tall enough to where it came up to their shoulders. And these kids were probably like 10, 11, 12. No, they were a little bit older. I think they were like 12, 13, 14, somewhere around that area. And all of a sudden, when they came through, all of a sudden they started itching, right? And they were scratching and everything like that. One of them took their shirt off and everything. All of a sudden there was a bunch of leeches. There was leeches, right? So distractions are like leeches. They suck your time up. They suck your blood, right? They suck your mental power. Here's a quick tip. Before you take a test, any kind, whether you're adult or up and coming adult, whatever, fast for a little bit. Why? Because when you eat, your mind, or should I say your brain, not your mind, your brain is still working on digesting. So your brain is the centerpiece. Your brain is kind of like the engine, and your heart is like the transmission for your body. So your brain is steadily working, trying to digest that food for 6 hours. 6 hours from the time that you ate, right? So before you take a test, before you have to do something, take a long trip, before you have to do anything that's significant, fast. And guess what? All your recall in your brain, all the facets of your brain will be engaged, and you can ace the test. You can get to where you need to get to without being tired, right? Being sleepy. It works. So that's why I say there's different laws that you have to know about your body, right? You got to take care of your body. You only get one body, right? This is not baseball. We get one strike and we're out, right? I know there's some people of different religions. Keep listening to me, who believe that you can come back but to my estimation, to my knowing, to the truth, that you only get one strike, right? So you have to take care of this temple. Now, again, our environment determines our output, right? Our input, and our input determines our output. So that sets the stage for our thinking. And our thinking and how we see ourselves determines how we see the whole world. The whole world, right? Why don't we get into this? So again, a seed, picture yourself being a seed, right? And physically, as I gave you an example before, right, with the whole sperm and the egg and everything like that. Now look at it like this. So you're whatever age that you're at right now. So your gifts are a seed, and you have to put your seed in the right environment. A seed can't stay on top of the toilet lid. It can't stay on the bathroom floor. It can't stay on the ground, right? It can't stay on the kitchen table. It can't stay in your pocket. A seed is a life form. I don't even know if I mentioned this. I think I did maybe some time ago, but they found wheat in the Egyptian tombs, 4,000 plus year old wheat some decades ago. And guess what? Did it grow? Yes, it did. Now it took over 4,000 years. Why? Because it wasn't put in the right environment, right? It needed the environment for the nutrients. It needed the proper moisture, right? It needed rain. It needed chlorophyll from the sun, right? It needed it needed the right environment overall in order for it to grow. Now, let me ask you a question. Did you have to pray for that seed to grow once you put it in the right environment? No, you didn't have to pray, right? The word prayer actually means to petition. It's not a religious word. Petition is a law-based word, right? It's a legal word. It's a government word. So what am I getting at? When you know, remember that word know? Know means information, to have knowledge. Knowledge means light, right? When you have revelation about something, whatever particular area that you're trying to find out, then you know what to do, right? You start to understand it, and if you start to understand it, then you can take action, right? You get it? So you got knowledge, understanding, and then you got wisdom. Wisdom means applied knowledge or application or action. That's what that means. Um, so your seed. So your seed. Now, once you get that gift in the right soil, in the right environment, the seed, right, breaks through the husk. That's the resistance that we get in life, right, from our family members around us, right? Some people may not believe in us, right? They may not encourage us. You know, I even know there's a lot of people whose parents never told them that they loved them, and so they don't tell their kids that they love them. And if their kids do the same thing, they see it's generational curse. You know, lack of knowledge because of hurt, because of bitterness, pain. You know, bad examples, all kind of things. You know, so I don't want to get into all that, but so when you drop your gift into the right environment, it's going to grow, and then it's going to come out of the husk. It's going to go down, right, and spread its roots. So a tree, as wide it is below ground, is wide above ground, right? However deep a tree is in a below ground is as tall it is above ground. You get what I'm saying? So if it's above ground, let's say it's 30 feet tall, the roots are going to be 30 feet deep, right? So you must get your roots deep. So what are you doing in that time frame? You're mastering your gift. If it's teaching, you're mastering that gift. You're reading books, you're attending seminars, you're going online, you're doing all kinds of things to work on your gift, to master your gift. Now, why do you want to master your gift? Because that's where your business is. Everybody has a business, and your business is in your gift. Solve a problem. Every problem you solve. See, that's why you should look for problems. Don't look for money. Look for problems and solve the problem. Ask yourself, work this brain right here that does 20,000 trillion calculations a second. How many zeros is that? That's a lot. 20,000 trillion calculations a second. So work that brain and ask, what's the problem? All right. How do I solve this problem? See, you're engaging your brain, right? You can't engage your brain by watching TV all day long. You can't engage in your brain by overindulging in entertainment, right? All the stuff I brought up, I've done before, right? I wasted time before, right? And when you talk to people that are in their 80s, 90s, 100, over 100, if you would have asked them, I bet you, if you would have asked them their top two questions, if you would have say, what was your biggest regret? It's not what they did, it's what they did not do. Did you hear what I just said? It's not what you did, it's not what you committed, it's what you didn't do, right? I have some regrets. I wish I'd have stayed with baseball, right? Who knows? I could have been in the Major League Baseball. I could have been in the Hall of Fame. I didn't know my dad made me play baseball. I didn't want to play baseball, but I thank God he did force me to do it because he wanted me to try something new, right? Most people, again, here it is. Where are you from? They limit themselves. Well, I'm brown skin, so I got to play football, basketball, or baseball's last. Why? Why can't I play golf? Why can't I play cricket? Why can't I play this? Why can't I play that? You see what I'm saying? Wherever you're from is your limitation. Wherever you're from is your limitation. Okay? So that seed turns into a tree. Follow me now. Your gift, right, is starting to bear fruit, right? You're giving it away free. Are you listening to me? Whatever your gift is, give it away free at first, right? And guess what? After a while, people are going to be following you. It's called a paradox, right? You're not trying to have people follow you, right? This world we got. I got 50,000 followers. I got 1 million followers. That's fictitious. That's fictitious. It's not real. It's just social media, right? You don't know those people. Those people don't really know you, right? But what are they? What are they? What are they looking for? They're looking for your fruit from your what? A tree. You being a tree. So every person is a seed, goes into a tree, and bears fruit. Why? For their generation. Because why? That's part of their purpose and their vision. Vision is really simple. Vision is where you see yourself being in the future. What do you see yourself doing for the rest of your life? Right? If you don't find out what your vision is, then you'll work for somebody else's vision. Right? And get the crumbs, the scraps. Right? Stop being a victim of your own mentality. And I know we've been trained too. We've been trained. I talked about the Greeks last week. If you do a little bit of research on the Greeks thought if you didn't look like them, then you're my slave. And you know what that equates to, right? And that's why people are so timid. People that are my color and have these just the self images are terrible. Right? Because of, and this is not just in the Western world, this is in all around the world. Why? Because the name of the game is control. If I can control a person the way a person thinks, especially if they don't even know that I'm doing it, right? How do you do that, Tyreek? Well, as I said before, do a little bit of study on your brain. Your brain is a sending and receive. It receives information and it sends information, right? So if input is coming at us all the time, there's all kind of messages coming at us. Look at your TV. Nobody's watching over 200 channels of TV. Statistics show you only watch anywhere from 5 to 10 channels regularly, right? If you do watch TV. But each one of those channels, those directors, those editors, all the staff behind the TV and the people, really the money that's behind the channel or the station is trying to get a hold of this right here, right? That's a whole nother topic in itself, but that falls into the law of input and output, right? If I'm over here, right, in the Western world, and if I have, when I have, $100 billion or $100 million, whatever, and let's say I want to take $10 million and I want to affect these group of people over here in this country, all I got to do is make a few phone calls or have somebody else, the people that work for me, make a few phone calls, right? And then I can affect millions of people on the other side of the world. Are you following me? And I can say this is what I want them to know about me and learn about me and my products and services and stuff like that. And they can develop this image in their mind, right? That seed, I'm planting them seeds. What? Those seeds are words. And those words take root sooner or later. Why? Through repetition. Why do you think they show the same commercial on TV over and over and over again, especially within an hour? It's a repetitive thing. The same commercial, right? To get it into your brain, to plant that seed, and eventually that seed is going to take root and it's going to turn into a tree and it's going to control your output, which comes out of your mouth and your actions. Do you understand what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying. You smart. You're very smart people, right? Forget that math teacher that said you couldn't do this. Remember, maybe you ate a huge breakfast before your exam when you were in high school or middle school and you failed. So you didn't know anything. You had lack of knowledge. You were ignorant in that area. I didn't know that, right? They told us to eat a nice full breakfast, right? So here's what I had to do. A lot of the stuff that I told you that I've learned over these years, here's what I had to do. I got to a certain point a few years ago, and I said, let's assume, Tyreek, that everything I learned was a lie. And I had to work my way backwards, right? How do I know something is rotten? Like you got a rotten banana. It smells, right? It looks rotten, black and everything. And some people may argue that, you can use that, you still eat it, whatever. But I'm just get the concept. It's rotten, it stinks. Let's say you got mold and it's growing stuff on it, bacteria, and everything like that, right? So I know that all those banana trees on that tree are rotting because everything is either growing or dying. That's some of the things that I mean about being against the clock. You have the law of time. The law of time. I didn't know there was a law of time. Yes, there is. There's laws or a law of time, and there's sub categories below that. The law of time, right? So I know the fruit by the root. I can tell that that's a banana tree. Why? Because I look at the fruit and I say, well, that's a banana tree, right? So hopefully that makes sense, guys. Let me get up off of here. Last but not least, as I mentioned before, distractions. Those are the leeches in life. I gave you guys homework last week and the week before that. Hopefully you've taken time to shut the TV off, shut social media off. Try saying that 3 times. And just take some time out and find out, remember what your vision is, right? Remember what your vision is when you were little. I promise you were given one, right? I had to do the same thing. I have a vision book. I got a lot of stuff written down in there, right? Things that I see myself doing. I will achieve them, right? The Lord Jesus Christ told me that personally, right? If I stay on course, I'm going to achieve them. I'll be flying all around the world. I'm going to be I'm going to be mentoring people. I'm going to be helping out governments. I'm going to be doing a lot of things. I'm going to be doing a lot of leadership speaking. And what I'm doing right now is I'm honing my skills. But most of the skills that I'm honing is behind the scenes, right? Remember that depiction I gave you of that seed in the ground? Nobody can see what's happening underground. But that seed, right? The law of the seed takes place because the environment, it's getting the chlorophyll from the sun, it's getting the nutrients, it's getting the moisture, right? And that seed is just growing slowly, right? You don't have to pray about your seed growing. Same thing with you. But eliminate distractions. So if you're below 25, please don't play around. Oh man, I beg you, please, I implore you, do not play around. Why? Because the older you get in thinking, and wrong thinking especially, right, the harder and more cemented those wrong ways of thinking get etched into your mind, and they are harder to see. It's harder to unlearn stuff than it is to learn something. So what I'm doing is I'm unlearning a lot of things while I'm relearning a lot of things. That's why it takes me a little bit longer. But if you're below 25, preferably below 20, find out who you are, right? Go to the manufacturer. I don't care what religion you're from, whatever religion your background that you're from. You want to know why people jump from religion to religion, especially the top four and other religions around the world. I said it earlier today. I don't know if you caught on to this. It's because of power. People are looking for power, the ability to control circumstances. Isn't that something? Now, if one person is looking for power, how about a group of people? Yeah, with resources. They have money. They have a lot of power and influence, right? Because that's what it's all about. Everybody influences everybody. A homeless person influences another homeless person or somebody else, right? You got panhandlers. They influence people to give money, right? Whether they're legal or whether they're telling the truth or not, they influence. Everybody is created to be an influence. My question to you is what kind of influence are you being to your own? See, I'm preaching to myself, right? I'm not just talking about this stuff. I got to live it, right? That ups my standard of excellence, keeps me accountable. My wife keeps me accountable, and my kids keep me accountable. That's great, right? So, anyway, so eliminate your distractions. TV, write a list of them down. What's distracting you? Well, I'm 70 years old. I'm old. I'm done. Who said that? We've been given 120 years. You're 50 years short. Who said that you're old? Because you were trained to believe that. You were trained to be timid. You were trained to be afraid. You were trained to be frightened, anxious, right? You were trained for all that. I'll get into that a little bit later on in another time. But if you go back into your history, you'll learn what I'm talking about. How about drugs? How about tobacco? Wrong people, sex, smoking, cell phone. All these are distractions. They're leeches. Some of them are bigger leeches than other leeches that suck your vision, your purpose out of your life. The worst regret outside of knowing that there's something that you know you need to do and you're supposed to achieve and don't even know how to do it and how to connect with it. The second worst thing is to have a gift and use it for the wrong reason, right? That is horrible too. To have a gift to bless people, but you use it to steal, murder, and lie and cheat and destroy people, right? To destruct, to destroy. It's horrible. They break the law of love and the law of life. See, I've given you I probably given you like 10 to 15 laws, man. Hopefully you guys caught it. Please listen to this again. I know it's almost coming up on an hour. Well, actually, it was about 50 minutes of me talking and everything, right? So anyway, so don't allow those things to distract you. How dare you let tobacco or any type of drug make you a slave? If you want to be a slave to something, here's you need to. Everybody's going to be a slave, right? I promise you, 100%. Nobody can dispute this. Everybody's a slave to something. Some people are a slave to money. Most people are a slave to money, right? In a way, we're kind of slave to time, but I would argue that, as I said before, success and failure is predictable. When you know the laws, guess what? You can determine your outcome, right? So be a slave to your purpose and to your vision. You want to be a slave? Be a slave to that. Work on that. Take a few minutes per day, especially if you're not working anymore. And if you're still working, take time out for yourself. How are you going to help if somebody else, if you don't have water and how are you going to give somebody else water? Or if you don't have a bucket, to give somebody else, right? How are you going to give them water? Right? And if you have a water source, you can't, right? You have to what's the word I'm looking for? You have to drink yourself. You have to get the nutrients that you need to get yourself operating so you can help somebody else out. Women are famous for that. You know, they give, they give, they give, they give, and that's just kind of how they're created and they think. But I tell my wife, I said, listen, you know, and she realizes it also too. Hey, I need to pour into me good stuff too. I need to block the negative and pour in good stuff also too, right? Especially when you're married. You know, husband and wife, you guys got to be on the same page. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's it. Please again subscribe. Please like. I really appreciate it. If you like my content, if you don't like my content, don't worry. Keep coming back. You're gonna learn something. I promise you. You know, many of you paid $50,000 a year to go to a private school. Some of this stuff I just talked about, you didn't hear anything about it. You didn't hear anything related to this before. You know, I just woven in some a lot of different laws that you can write down and you can apply to your life. Do some research behind that also too, outside of your vision. You know, look for your vision. Once you find your vision, that's part of your purpose. Your purpose is why you're here, right? And then once you get that, you start develop a passion. So write down your dream. Write in your dream book exactly what your vision is. Write in detail. Just keep writing in detail all the way through. What do you want to do? I mean, how do you want to live? Um, what do you want? How many people you want to help out? You know, go into all the detail, whatever it is, whatever gift that you have, right? So I'm done. I'll be back next week talking about, guess what? What can I do? What can I do? That's the gift part right there. That's the gift. So you can say, I got a purpose, and you can have those 4 questions. But if you don't know what your gift is, man, oh man, oh man, you know what? You can't give something that you haven't got. That's another law right there, right? The law of giving. So you guys have a great night. During the week, I'm probably going to hit y'all up and do just like an impromptu live. If I feel inspired, which I normally am after studying and reading and researching and doing other things to help contribute to this podcast. So again, please subscribe, please like. You guys have a great, blessed rest of your week. And remember, stop being afraid of yourself.